In this episode, I'm going to answer your question of how to practice campfire songs on guitar effectively. And practicing doesn't have to be a chore. You can see results immediately, if not very quickly, and it's going to sound musical from day one. So stick around, and by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly what to do. Let's dive into the topic of how to practice campfire songs effectively. Alright, so first we're going to look at what you need to do before you actually start practicing, because that's quite important. You've got to prep and you've got to be ready to go because you've got a limited time when you practice. And then we're going to look at a 3-part framework that's going to give you results immediately. It's going to make it easy to remember and retain the information, and it's going to sound very musical from day one. All right, let's get into it. The thing that we need to do before we actually sit down and practice is we got to, choose the song that we want to play, but we got to get a copy of the song. And I don't care if it's vinyl, cassette, MP3, CD, or you stream it off YouTube or Spotify. You just need a copy that you can listen to regularly over and over. And you can do this by, cleaning up around the house, on your drive to work, to and from work, and just so it gets in your head and you know what the song is actually doing. Now, I'm not suggesting right now to learn it by ear. It's just so it becomes more and more familiar and you hear the different sections of the song as you go. All right, so that's step one. And step two is obviously you got to know how to play it. All right, so you got to get the manuscript of the song or the tab of the song. Guitar tabs are available everywhere. They're not always accurate, and so what I suggest is instead of going through reams of paper just to get through the song, all right, because most tab or sheet music you download, it could be 4, 7, 15 pages long, depending on the actual length of the song that you want to play. All right, so I recommend getting one of them and then transferring just the chords that you want into something like this. So let's say it's a 4-chord song, all right, and it uses the chords of G, E minor, C, D, all right, and we just you take it from the manuscript and you write out the first chord like that. And each one of these letters is going to get you 4 beats. All right, so let's say it's got 2 measures of G, and then it goes to the E minor for 2 measures, and then it does the C for 1 measure, and the D for another measure, before it goes back to G for 2 measures. All right, let's say that's the first part of the song that you want to learn. Now, that alone, on tab or music, and getting around how to read music, of course, this is much easier when it's just on one piece of paper and it's just there for you to focus on. All right, so you get the strum pattern. Most sheet music or tab does tell you the strum pattern. So you got your strum pattern, and then you're just writing out these chords in the order that they go on a single sheet of paper. And this is what we call a chord chart. All right, the reason I recommend that is because you're not leafing through the pages, excuse me, and it's just there nice and clean. So on tab, on sheet music, it's very visually overwhelming. There's a lot of information on there, a lot of black dots, a lot of hieroglyphics, all right, which makes it really frustrating and overwhelming, all right, but this is just simple, okay, nice and simple. And let's say, for example, in one of those measures of the song that you're using, you see 2 chords in the same measure. Now, if you don't know, the measure is those little, they're like little compartments on the sheet music, right? You got a vertical line separating each one of them. That's what I call a measure. Generally, for most songs that you play, they're about 4 beats, okay? But let's assume that this one here does a C and a G in this same measure. All we're going to do for our chord chart is just put a line underneath, and that will separate this getting 4 beats, and these ones will equal 4 beats, so this The C here gets 2 beats, sorry, and the G gets another 2 beats. So that's what we call a split measure, or when you see chords in the same measure, okay? That's what you need first before you sit down and practice, all right? You want something clear to understand, and you want to know the song quite well, just by listening to it. Not how to play it, just by listening to it. So the next thing, you've got your song being playing as you go on throughout your day, and you've got your chord chart there, nice and clean. All right, next I'm going to provide a 3-part framework that you can use for any song that you want to learn. So if you're just starting out and you haven't played a chord yet, it's going to work. If you've been monkeying around with chords, trying to change them and everything like that, it's still going to work. All right, this is foolproof. It's taken me like 40 years to get it so simple that people can get it just like that, so they're playing music from day one. And the 3-part framework is what I call CPR. Right? It's an acronym for what I'm about to share. So the C stands for chunk it down. The P, play it slow. And the R is repetitions. All right, so what do I mean by chunk it down? This is the first part of the framework. So you might know these chords or you may not. So what we got to do is get the order of these chords into our heads so we can get it into our fingers. All right, you've been listening to the song, but still now comes the tactile thing of changing the chords, playing it, everything like that. You might be able to remember just 2 measures of G, 2 measures of E minor. Great. So that is what I call chunk it down. We're not looking at this whole thing from the get-go, okay? We're just looking at one little section that we can remember, okay? Remember when I said sheet music, there's a lot of information there. I'm just trying to make it simple, clear, and it's easy to understand, easy to digest. Right? We do that by chunking it down. And all you're going to do is play it slow. So you're not going to do this at full tempo. You're not going to try and play along with the song at that tempo, at the tempo that the song goes on. And you just play through the G and the E minors, okay? And you do repetitions of it, all right? So it's just this chunk here. You're playing your G, 2 measures of G, 2 measures of E minor. Then, when you get that, you don't go all the way through, you just come back to chunk it down and do the next part. Right? Now, there's a couple of different chord changes going on in this example, so we may want to just do that. Right? Get the C to D going. Whatever it is for you, you just do what you can do and don't be afraid to make it even smaller. Alright? So you've got your C to D now as your second chunk, and you're just going to play through those 2 chords, doing the 4 beats each, slowly. And you've got to play it through with repetitions. Now, the way I teach students, and it works well for them, is that we aim to get these 3, maybe 5 times through, no mistakes. Alright? So it may take you 50, 70 goes to get there, but your aim is to be able to do this nice and cleanly, so it sounds like music, 3 to 5 times through, no mistakes. Okay, so like on this one, we're not looking fingers going everywhere, the strumming pattern keeps going when we change chords. That's what I mean. It's not perfect. We're not aiming for perfection, we're just aiming to get it through nice and cleanly by doing our repetitions 3 to 5 times. Once we get this, what I do, get people to do, is just go back and add the extra chunk in together. Alright, we're going to still play it slow, but our chunk has got a little bit bigger, but it's still chunked down, it's not the whole thing. And then we're going to play it slow and do repetitions on those 2 previous chunks. Alright, so it becomes one main chunk. And all I get people to do is just keep repeating this process all the way through the intros, the verses, the choruses, bridge, or whatever is in that song. Alright, this way, when you're doing your chunks, you're doing your repetitions, that it kicks in. and you can remember it and retain that information. You're not being overwhelmed by a multitude of trying to play through the song from top to bottom. It's just a very small chunk, very easy to digest, very easy to play. And then you just keep going through the songs like that. Do a chunk, do a second chunk, join those two together. Add another chunk, join that together, right? And so on and so forth. And you'll find that it's a very easy way to play songs. You can get through them quite quickly. Okay, maybe not in 5 minutes, but you're going to see more runs on the board, and the results are going to be there, and you're going to see improvement each time you do it. So that's the 3-part framework, all right? You've got your song, you're listening to it, and that's how you practice campfire songs on guitar very effectively. Okay, now that you know how to practice campfire songs on guitar effectively, if you are looking at doing that, playing around the campfire, backyard parties, or just entertaining friends, playing songs, having a sing-along, all right, I have a free gift for you. And that's my ultimate 4-chord songbook. Right, this is designed for absolute beginners to get going. There's a bunch of 4-chord songs in there, and strumming patterns, and it's all laid out on one page. Now, I want to say, this isn't a book, this is a video course. So over the course of 10 months, you're going to learn one song each month. It's a simple 4-chord song designed for beginners on a single acoustic guitar, so you can effectively play those songs around the campfire. Right, all you need to do is just follow the link below, enter your details, and you get instant access to your first song, right? And then every month you get a new song sent to you automatically. All right, until next time, my friends, take care. We'll see you soon.